Hi, Tom.
Hey Chuck, how you doing?
All right. I don't know why my camera's not working. I have to be careful. If I touch the cords and jiggle around with them, sometimes it comes back, and then sometimes it takes the external monitor away, and I can't see anything. So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to mess with it. I would think Barb was at least planning. I don't know. I'm surprised nobody else is on yet.
Well, you confused me a little with the thing with meeting with Tim about whether are we meeting with Tim? I don't know. I didn't know if that was supposed to replace this or not.
No, but it just has to do with our, the food scrap machine, right? And also, we wanted him to kind of kick off this food waste prevention one thing we want to do.
Mhm.
And then, Amar brought up the should we doing be doing a town RFP for hauling, you know, instead of, we should be doing the food scrap machine. So, um, but, I think we need the data point of what they're going to charge the town to do it because they keep telling us cheaper for us to do it than the town.
Yeah. So they put that RFP out, didn't they? Or have they put that out already or not?
I don't know. Matt doesn't keep me in that kind of communication loop. He said he wanted to do it last Wednesday, so I presume that he issued it.
Hmm.
I could probably figure out how to get on that place that they posted, like we did with the solar. Go look for it, I guess. But I could ask him too.
Hmm.
Let me ping Barbara. Let me. Oh, she said she's having trouble signing into the meeting. I wonder if everybody's having trouble. You didn't have any trouble, right? What
No, but there's two different links.
do you mean? There's two different links.
Well, there's one on top and there's one on the bottom. I'm not sure they're the same. I assume they were the same, but I just zapped the one on top. But
Yeah,
um,
they are the same. Copy link address. Oh, I mean, Kim knows about this meeting. I mentioned it today. Oh, sorry. It's not Tambury too. Oops. Let's see. I don't know if I have that. No, I think so.
the
Hey Chuck, hey Tom.
Oh,
oh,
hi. Good.
hey Barbara.
I can't hear you, Tom.
Oh, wait.
Maybe it's me. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. I clicked on the link that was in the agenda. I don't know why. It said May 12th meeting, and then
Yeah.
Chuck sent me something else.
Oh
The
boy.
well, there's two links. They're not exactly the same, Chuck. I don't know why, but I was looking at the all the details. But I clicked the one on top. Maybe the one on the bottom doesn't work. I don't know.
There was one embedded in the agenda. I clicked on that, and I think I clicked on one in the email first. But obviously, I got in with whatever Chuck just sent me. So,
Let me send this out to everybody then.
yeah. Okay, here's Kim's in.
Oh, good.
Tom, did you get my email about the thank you notes?
Yes.
Did you want me to do them for you, or you
No.
just
I
have
thought I responded to you about it. I
no?
said no, that I would deal with it
Oh, okay. That's fine.
for senior ponchos and for Corey.
Yep. Well, I was just doing the door one, so it was, I think, just senior ponchos. I don't know
Right.
who got Clay Club for the was that you, Chuck?
Oh, I just did the sponsors.
Oh, I know. Who brought in the Clay Club? Um, they
Oh,
made a donation to the door prizes at
yeah,
the event.
Jennifer Feldman. Oh, we got Kathy DeCarly too.
Okay.
Yes, I was on the wrong link. Sorry about that. I was waiting for you to start on the old link.
That's
Yeah,
okay. I did the same. So
apparently.
And Kim, are you there? We can't hear you. Can't hear you. You're muted.
That is by design. I
Oh,
have
okay.
we got a kitty from the animal shelter this week, and so she's hanging out in my space, and so is the rest of the family. So you hear
Okay.
lots of cute kitty noises calling the kitties in the background.
okay.
That's the best.
It's cute.
All right. I don't know if anybody else is joining, but I guess we should get started. Excuse
Did
me.
you send that other link to Anne? I
I
think
sent
she
it. I sent it to everybody again.
buddy. Okay.
Um, we're getting started at 7:09. Sorry for the delay.
Okay.
I would check the links afterwards and see if I can straighten things out.
Well,
I
Um,
the
guess
link the link on the email was
We are so close to her crawling on him because she doesn't recognize that the body is attached to the head.
oh that's not us. Okay. No, the link on the email seems to be wrong. The one that you sent for the
Yeah.
meeting.
the agenda.
I think so, yeah, because Kim told me to go onto the calendar and I got right in, but when I was on the other one, so I think that one was incorrect.
Yeah. The agenda, I tried both the email and the agenda, and I didn't get in with either of them.
So you went
Oh,
to the
okay.
one on the town calendar? What calendar
Uh,
did you go to?
well, I think the town calendar put it on my personal one. It was, you know how like when you accept it, it updates your
Right.
calendar. So I think it was.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Well, at any rate, I'll go through and figure it out.
Um,
So,
Kim is here, so you can move her from absent to present.
right.
I made it.
All right. So first item on the agenda is our previous meeting minutes. We have, yeah, so Do I have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
So moved.
I
Second.
wanted to move.
Okay.
Second.
You wouldn't
No.
want to, yeah, you can second, right? Kim, I know I had a conversation with you in the, in that, when I bumped into you and Tim that day about Microsoft Teams and OneDrive. I was just wondering if you could update us and if anything's changed from that conversation.
Sure. Our IT guy is working on other priorities at the moment, and as long as we can get this up online, it's a rather ultimate goal, priority wise. It's not going to happen anytime soon, probably.
So he's busy. Is that what you're saying?
He's busy, and it wasn't the way it's set up is unclear. So it does need some attention, and just don't have that time right now.
Okay. Well, nothing to keep us continuing on the way we're doing.
Right.
All right. So the main topic of discussion tonight is this draft RFP that I sent around to everybody earlier. I had checked with Dan Colton. Because the monies are over $25,000, we need to issue an RFP. Even if we break this apart, right, the individual phases, we would have to get 3 quotes for each phase if we were going to do this. But there's strongly recommends that we don't do. Although I guess if you read this text of their response down below, right, they strongly recommend sticking with the same contract over the course of the program unless we encounter issues. So I guess it's technically allowed, but they really are discouraging.
One thing that kind of caught my eye when I read through the RFP was it said we can terminate the contract at the end of any phase. So let's say we terminate the contract after phase 1. Would we then give all the money back to?
No.
Would we be able to then start again with another RFP and get somebody else on board for the next 2 phases?
We're gonna have a hard time getting deep comfortable with that. The way that
I was just curious because it's like, it's good that it protects us, but at the end of the day, our charge is to solve a problem. And if we stop after step 1 for whatever reason, how do we continue from there? I guess I'm being doom and gloom.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Anne is wondering, she says she's in the waiting room.
She may have done the same link that I did.
Okay.
She needs to get on a different link.
Okay.
Tell her to try the calendar.
And Chuck sent out a new link in email, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have a phone, or I would have texted it to her.
Yeah.
So the way that the monies work, right, is you terminate at any point, and you've been reimbursed. You're reimbursed for all the expenses that you've done up to that point. But then, if you choose not to go forward, you're not spending any. You're not being reimbursed, or you're not drawing any more money. It isn't like you get the money up front.
Oh yeah, no, I realize that, but it's not so much the money, but then if we decide not to go forward, do we just stop everything?
Yeah, I think that's what the requirement is. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, no, that's actually not true. We stop everything that's grant funded is stopped, but we can continue with our own funds, right?
Right.
But we wouldn't be able to use the grant money to hire somebody else.
No.
Okay.
I mean, no.
That's fine. I just, that seemed kind of vague to me. It doesn't matter to me which we decide. I just seemed kind of vague.
Yeah. No, I do think the RFP also has some value in helping getting everybody on the same page and helping us evaluate different contractors. It does slow us down, but
Can you get me up to speed to what, because I had the old link. Can you get me up to speed of what you guys have been talking about for the last 15 minutes?
well, we started late because everybody else also had problems. You haven't missed too much. You can see on my screen, right? We had an update about Microsoft Teams and OneDrive. IT is working on other priorities. We did a motion to approve the meeting minutes, and then we just started talking about this draft RFP. And I checked with Dan Colton. Anything over $25,000, we need to issue an RFP to select a program. So we need to issue it for this program partner. I also asked Deep if we could, if we have to stay with the same company or if we could pick different contractors for different phases. Yeah. You can see the response on the screen. They say they strongly recommend sticking with the same contractor over the course of the program. And then, I also checked with Dan on if we broke it apart. And, he said, you've got to get 3 quotes for every phase if you're going to do it that way. So in my mind, it's not too much different than just doing the RFP. And, I do think there's value in doing the RFP and getting everybody up to speed and using it as a tool to help us evaluate vendors on a common ground. But that's everything we've discussed to date.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. Do we have a strong feeling that we, shouldn't issue the RFP, or how does everybody want to weigh in?
I had more. So one of the requirements in the RFP was that they wanted examples for the last 5 years. 3 examples for over the last 5 years of projects they had done. And I'm wondering if it should be 10 years, because I'm assuming these projects take a couple of years. So are we, by having that as a requirement, are we narrowing down our field of opportunity? It was near the end. It was probably almost one of the last pages.
Okay.
So that some of there seemed to me, and maybe because I've been filling out a lot of job applications, there seemed to be a lot of requirements, and I'm I wonder how many are not going to bother filling out the RFP because they're yeah, these people aren't worth it. Yeah, right there, the references, 3 references of projects completed within the last 5 years. I mean, if some of these projects take a couple of years, you might have to look back further than 5 years.
We can certainly be flexible on this. The round 1 took a couple of years to complete, but that was all with the same company.
But I mean, are we looking for 3 references from 3 different municipalities or 3 references from the same municipality? I mean, I just thought that we might be shooting ourselves in the foot with that kind of a requirement being so specific.
Well, it says 3 references for comparable municipal or grant-supported projects. Oh, it's just a comparable type project was the intent.
But what if the projects each took 5 years? And so, I don't know, to me, it's I think these projects take multiple years. So would you have enough references within a 5-year period, or should you look back further?
Or maybe just get rid of within the past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if we just said 3 references, we can ask them,
Right.
How long ago was this?
I'm all right with taking the time requirement.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, we can always ask them for more relevant examples if we want. As a follow-up.
Yeah, I don't want to scare the lambs away before we even start talking to them, you know?
That's why I thought be based in Connecticut. What do you really mean by that? Does their headquarters have to be here? Do they have to have an office here? I'd almost scratch that requirement because a lot of them are not based out of Connecticut.
It's a
These
deep
companies.
requirement. It's a deep requirement.
It's a what?
It's required by deep.
Oh,
That they have to be a Connecticut company?
Um,
because
you know,
these weren't all Connecticut companies that we looked at, that are on the deep list.
Maybe they mean the projects have to be done in Connecticut.
That was page 8, line 5.
right. I know,
Or
but
to be based in Connecticut.
the things are different here. But I put your comments in as comments here.
Okay.
Um, um, yeah. So the idea is here. I'll go back and find the requirement where I found that they have to be based in Connecticut, and I'll just take the exact wording from whatever deep is, right?
Okay. Because it's the same thought that Kathy had. Like you don't want to eliminate everybody and
Yeah,
have
before they
apply.
yeah, before they even sign up.
Right.
Or if only one company should sign up for the, like what if only one company applies?
Right. Like
Well,
that.
then you can choose whether or not to take that one company,
Right.
or you can issue the RFP again.
Okay.
That's true.
I have a question. So if we put this RFP out, we get two companies. We go through all this work. Are we obligated to pick one, or can we say, you know what, this is, we're not going to take either one of these?
No, we're not
Our
obligated.
our RFPs usually include a clause like that where there's no guarantee that there's going to be a contract way.
Okay. My other question is, in this RFP, it says that they will be signed up for 3 years, and then if there's 60 days, we can cancel. Blah blah blah. Whatever the wording was. 3 years is a long time. If we were to go with some other kind of option, say the dehydrator, the composter, we're still obligated for 3 years to be with these people. 3 years is a long time.
Right. So where in the document are we here?
This will pigeonhole us for 3 years to do nothing with the food scraps. Excuse me, but have them haul it away. That's my concern.
All right, where in the document are you referring to?
Hold on, I'll show you.
Can you find the word years in here? 3 years.
Mm. Sure. And then there's another thing on page 10. It says 44 tons per year. That's a big guarantee because now it's only at 40 tons. So we got 4 more tons that we have to gather together to make the mark for this RFP.
Are you in the food scrap RFP?
Yes.
Oh, we're talking about SMMR RFP here, the source of program partner.
But wouldn't that be the same thing? Because we're looking for someone to tell us what to do.
Yeah, they're not the same thing. The food scrap RFP would be just for hauling. The town wanted to issue that.
Right, but 3 years is a long. Okay, so when you get back to this RFP for the food scraps, I'd like to
Yeah, that
discuss
meeting
that a little more.
We set up that meeting for Thursday. I sent you a note on this today.
Yeah, I haven't seen my emails yet. I just got out of work, so
Yeah, so hopefully you can make it. I set it up for 12:30 to 1:30.
that would be perfect. I will be there. That's for the food scraps itself.
it's for the food scrap machine and to talk about, you know, Sustainable Southbury wants to do a food prevention month to help reduce food waste. So we're
Okay,
gonna
yeah, I'll be
talk
there on
about that with
Thursday.
them.
Okay, so I'll put this to the side and we can talk about that another time.
All right.
Yeah, I'm having some car work done on Thursday, so if nothing goes terribly wrong with my car, I should be there. That's why I put a maybe down.
Okay, good. All right. So we can start from the beginning here and work down. If everybody's read this, just tell me what things concern you in the RFP, or you might want changed.
Okay, this looks good.
Yeah. All right. So we'll work our way down. I was leaving that as an option, but I mean, I don't want to go through this line by line. We'll be here all night,
No,
right?
Mhm.
But anything in the introduction concern anybody?
Nope.
no.
Background, you know, what I was trying to do was just underscore the fact that this grant is in 3 phases, and the dollar amounts for each phase. So we can, you know, we want them to give us back a proposal based on these dollar amounts per phase.
Yeah, that's where I said I think you should add a sentence at the bottom of this page that the proposal must be submitted with these dollar amounts and, you know, what that entails for each one. So they can't just take the 157,
Right.
160 and split it up any way they want. That it must be submitted 17 grand for groundwork. So something short and sweet that just, you know, a new sentence by itself that really kind of hammers that home that they have to submit it, you know. So I put the cost and what it entails must be submitted. Groundwork 17,000, launch 105, 160, and monitoring 35,000. But somebody can wordsmith it better than that.
Now, my question is, why wouldn't we do an RFP for the first phase and then launch, and then do one for the launch and one for the monitoring?
Well, that was the beginning question, right? What we were talking about before we went to wordsmith the RFP. And I don't think we should. I think we should do one for the overall program, and which is what Deep wants us to do as well.
They've said that to you in writing, that their RFP has to be with all 3 phases.
They didn't say have to, so let's go back. So this is from Deep right here, and hopefully this is large enough everybody can read it. But it says Deep strongly recommends sticking with the same contract over the course of the program unless you encounter any issues. This provides the best continuity of service.
Okay, strongly recommends doesn't mean have to.
Correct.
So strongly recommends means if we did an RFP for the first phase, we would be out of their realm of what they want. It doesn't say that to me.
Well, I know. But that was the question I was trying to get answered before we went to going to the specifics of the RFP. Do we want to break this into, you know, one RFP that just covers phase 1, or do we want to continue with the one for the full project?
Because if a company submits their proposal for all 3, you sort of can't say in the middle after they do the groundwork, say to them, nah, you know what? Town's going to do their own thing. I think that's unfair.
Well,
So
it's
how
in the
you-
contract that we can do that. That's all right.
Well,
at
that should
point.
be in there saying that if we
It's
go
at
a
the
different
bottom.
course, we don't need to continue on this. I don't know. I think it should be an RFP for each section, for each phase.
I'm not necessarily in agreement with that, just because if someone is interested in doing all three phases, now they got to fill out the freaking form 3 times. And
Oh,
if you make,
well,
no,
they're
but
making a lot of money.
not yet. They don't make the money until we agree with it. I mean,
Right. But I mean, if you want it and, and it's a dog eat dog world, then you have to fill it out 3 times. My opinion, but I think each RFP should be for each phase. Because if you want to bail out,
but if
I
you
mean,
fill out one RFP and you list all the things that you're willing to do for each phase, that still gives us the information we need to determine, do we want to go with one person, or maybe do phase 1 with this guy, phase 2 with that guy, phase 3 with that guy, or person, I shouldn't say guy. So I'm not a big fan of filling things out in triplicate. I think if you do a
if
good
you were
enough,
making $157,000, would you?
that's not the point. From a from a streamlined point of view, tell me what you're going to do in each phase. Give me one form and I'll review it, versus filling something out 3 different times. To me, it just
Well,
seems more efficient to look at it
and
in
and
detail.
on the flip side, for 17,000, I wouldn't bother.
That's what I was
Wow,
thinking
you guys have a
too.
lot of money, I tell you. You don't want 17,000?
You
Well,
only
probably
you need,
costs them 17,000 to fill out the RFP.
I got
I
it.
don't believe that, but
I'd
Well,
kind of want to know what they intend to do in part 2 and part 3.
it's also making them
All
responsible.
three.
Like, you can't just breeze in and do the easy stuff and breeze out. I'd like to see what your ethic looks like. If you're only going to do phase 1, you might do it kind of sloppy because you don't have to pick anything up in phase 2. It's like a permanent employee versus a consultant. Permanent employee is going to make sure that it's done correctly and not just done quickly. So I'd kind of like them to think, hey, you got to give us details on all 3 phases so that we can see what we're getting for the money.
Mhm.
Um, if you're only having them, it's like anybody can paint your house, but are they a good painter? I don't know. It just seems to me like if they're taking ownership of the whole process versus breezing in for just a quick 17 grand.
I just
I
would hope somewhere in the document that there's wording that specifies that if we don't have to accept you for the other 2 phases. We'll take you for one.
Yeah, there
And
is. There is a part like we can cancel at any time kind of
okay,
documentation.
it has to be solid so that they can't say, oh no, we want that other money. We did
Right.
a lot of
No,
work.
I think all these deep contractors are well aware, because of phase 1, there were towns that did the first phase of it and said, no, we're not going any further. It's not like every town said, okay, we'll do the whole thing.
Mhm.
Oh,
and when we asked them for pricing proposals, just to get, some insight into who might be competitive prior to issuing this, one of the vendors just completely ignored us and, just didn't really give us a pricing proposal. So I think, if we just go to them with phase 1 and, some money, show us some, consulting work, I don't think we're going to necessarily get anything from all the people that might. I think it's going to scare off some people.
I
Yeah,
think it's going to I think it's going to scare off everybody, but that's my opinion, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah, these are big companies used to big contracts, right? So that this, they're probably got. I'm not sure they're going to give this priority.
I think the another concern is if we were to do the first phase, there's no guarantee the same company is going to rebid for continuing phases. So we may end up, even if we wanted to stay with the same company, not able to. So it's just something to consider.
no, that's a good point.
Well, do we want to finish going through the RFP and then make a decision which way we want to go with it? Or do we want to vote now on which way we go?
What do you mean by which way we go? Whether we do one RFP for all three phases or three
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we go through the contract, there will be clues that make it easier to say we know we can get out of it if it is for all three.
Yeah. All right. So here it says, under SMMR grant rules, there is no obligation to proceed to the next phase once a phase is completed. And then Barbara had this point of I'll wordsmith this later on, but each phase amount they should give us a proposal for each phase amount.
Right.
I like that idea since we are thinking just in terms of phase all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Town seeks a program partner capable of supporting all three phases of the project, plus a program partner capable of maintaining compliance with all applicable deep grant conditions, reporting obligations, and municipal procurement standards.
Maybe we should put Southbury instead of just municipal.
Oh, thank you. Good idea.
Do we have to put anything regarding, like when you read stuff for the government, they'll have like a hyperlink that goes to, like you say, deep grant conditions. Do we have to like have a hyperlink or some kind of where they can find those grant conditions? Or
I do have a
They
link to
they should
to
know.
Southbury. I have a link to Southbury's procurement standards down below.
okay.
Now, Chuck, I have a question for you because I remember you speaking at another meeting stating that some of their two other groups that you guys had talked to or companies that you looked into, their specialty was the first phase. That's going to kick them right out of the first phase if they can't fulfill all three phases. What if they're excellent company that will help us with the first phase, but they can't do the other two? Now they're out. So
It wasn't that they had the expertise. They had the expertise to do it. It's just that the cost was a potential issue, right? So the idea was we're going to try to force them to tell us what we can get for the amount by each phase of the grant, right? So, yeah, you're thinking of RRS was the name of the company that, they were happy to provide all the services. What they did say is if you're going to go to a bag-based system, don't bother because we're not going to be able to compete with Waste Zero. We don't have the infrastructure. But if you're just looking for reducing waste services, beyond just going automatically to pay to throw, then, they said we'll respond.
Oh, so they were taking themselves out because they couldn't match Waste Zero's price.
Not the
But don't you
price.
feel like Waste Zero is, because they're selling the bags, so let me, give a really good price to the town because I know I'll make it up on the other end when I sell them all these bags.
Right. And
Yeah.
Waste Zero has set up a whole infrastructure around being able to, get us those bags and distribute the bags.
Right.
These other companies really haven't.
Because
So,
that's not their model.
right. They make their money on, consulting
Right.
and implementing other things besides pay to throw. they will implement pay to throw as well, but not necessarily a bag system. Which is, a great thing for this RFP to explore with anybody that we're going to partner with. What exactly
This-
will they be able to provide for the amounts that we had within the grant?
Right, because the grant was written by Waste Zero. So these are their dollar amounts for different areas. But this will force RRS to give us what they can do for 17 grand.
Yeah, so we can compare
Right.
actions, not just price tags.
Yep.
So these services that I put in here, I took them directly from I wordsmith them a bit, but they're from our scope document where what's in scope for that. What we defined in our last meeting is in scope. So hopefully there's no problems with any of this stuff.
I'm only afraid it'll make people frightened.
Okay, now let me ask this question. You got the RFP comes in. We have 4 or 5 different companies that come in. Who's making the decision on the people, the final decision that we're going to go with these people? It just seems like now we're going to do an RFP. It comes in. The selectmen going to decide who we
Well,
pick?
we're going to make a recommendation. That's our function. Make a recommendation to selectmen, and then the selectmen would decide.
Right.
And then where do we fit in after that? We fit in with working with the first phase again?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think he wants us to then implement, right? Go through the process with them. Whoever we select.
I'm still getting that vibe that this is a done deal. Why are we even bother doing this? Because we're going to go with Waste Zero and the decision's been made, pay to play. There's no other thinking going on here.
I wouldn't say that.
That's not my thinking.
Nor
Yeah.
mine.
Because you got, we're the one and only in Southbury. We're not thinking outside of the box. All we're doing is we're worried about this grant and this money that we're getting, and we're not thinking about what is good for the town of Southbury. Is this good for the town of Southbury? We haven't even discussed that yet.
Well, that's part of what the grant is. We spend the first money on the grant so that we have more information so that we can decide.
Right. So we may go through it. We're going to, basically get $17,000 to evaluate whether pay to throw or other methods are worth our while, right? And then, after that, we could terminate the grant and decide to go our own way if we don't want to go with, a pay to throw system.
I mean, I guess that the other thing is I don't know, if we accepted the grant, I mean, for 17,000, we could just do this and ignore it, throw it away and say, forget it. We don't need the 17,000.
No. I didn't say throw it away. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but there's other options out there than buying bags from Zero Waste and being a sheep and going along with every other town that this was offered to. But the 17,000, if they gave us real results and it wasn't Zero Waste, because Zero Waste ultimate is to get us to buy bags, like everybody said.
Right.
These prices
Right,
are
but
because they're going to make money at the end.
But that's why we're doing this RFP, with maybe the idea being that I thought we came to the conclusion last year that Waste Zero would be the last person we'd want to choose for this, or one of the last people we want to choose for it. So what I'm hoping is, but I don't want to, I guess back to Kathy's point about this section, it's so vast and so, whatever.
It's
that
kind of micromanagey a little bit in a way.
It's so vast that, again, if I were anybody else but Waste Zero, I just wouldn't participate. It's too much. It's like it's dreamy. It's too dreamy from a town perspective. about what you're
Well,
going to accomplish.
it just says depending on the projects, the services may include, right?
Okay, all right.
The program partner may be required to provide some or all of the following services, right? So
Okay.
we can strengthen that language if you want.
Oh, I don't want to strengthen it.
We
No, I
can,
mean,
I think
make it more
I think
specific, is what I'm saying. Cut things
no,
out, but
no, that's fine. That's a good point. Um, uh, okay. I mean, but I think part of the point of RFP is to try to attract some people in besides Waste Zero, so we have a real alternatives, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, we're not obligated to use just the people that are in that list. Although she had kind of funny. Let me show you her response to that. The vendor list you shared with, this is the one we were suspicious of because Waste Zero gave it to us. But it's a it's a CT DOS technical statewide materials management contract. So it's obvious it's a deep, right? It's not just Waste Zero's document. So it had those 9 different vendors in it. It says this is a great list to work from and the only statewide contract with sustainable materials management contract.
Would it make sense, instead of listing may or could, maybe if you had them check off the things that they'd be willing to do? So with all those,
No, I don't, I,
The point of phase
um,
1 is to figure out which from this list that we're going to do, right?
oh, okay, all right. Or maybe label it possible scope of service or something to make, because that makes it look like if you can't check everything on the list, we're not interested in you.
I like that idea.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost, you want them to tell you what it is they're going to provide at each phase. Not, right?
Yeah,
I
to be
mean,
defined in phase 1, yeah.
right.
I agree with Barb. So they can think outside the box a little bit. You don't want to tell them everything.
Right, yeah. They,
And they may say this isn't feasible, or you don't need to do this if we're going to do that. So it gives them a little bit of discussion points.
And they're the experts, they can explain why they're not going to do it because just like
Yeah.
Kathy said, we'll
right.
do this instead of this.
Maybe there shouldn't be any bullets, just program planning and coordination, public education and outreach, and waste reduction initiatives. Let them tell us what they're going to provide at each phase.
Absolutely.
I guess, but I think, I don't know, I think,
I think this gives us an idea of what we're thinking.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I like the bullets.
Otherwise, it's like creative writing.
Yeah, it's like too creative writing.
Yeah, and then by us having list here, then we have a way that we can compare, because if somebody doesn't mention support contamination reduction, they might do it, but they never mentioned it. So we might say, oh, we don't want them. So I don't know. I think I like
Giving them a heads up of what, we're thinking.
and so that we're all talking about the same things versus,
Yeah.
their interpretation of what our interpretation, and it gets.
Yeah, I think by changing the heading, and now that you drew my attention to the sum or all of the following, then I feel better. I think by making it possible scope of service, that heading is better, and then, yeah. So I think with that change, I'm happy with it.
So is that all for phase 1 though?
Yeah, I just was thinking that. So how about a project, possible scope of projects?
But isn't that for more than just phase 1? Because then you've got,
isn't it possible project scope? Possible project scope of services.
how about if it was possible project scope to be defined in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3? So they have to break it down and explain to us what they're going to do in each phase.
Right, that's
Okay.
our expectation, that we want real details for, the amount of money in each one.
I think this is going to make it very difficult to compare quotes.
What?
It's the possible project scope. We can't nail that down any more thoroughly.
Let's go back up here, because phase 1 is meant to decide what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
Groundwork,
Yeah.
right there.
So
Right.
I think because
to
this is an
design a
RFP,
specific town waste reduction program, right? Then phase 2 is launch, and phase 3 is monitoring. So that's the
Should we-
implementation.
well, this is an RFP, so we can expect them to define what their plan is, right? Maybe we should.
Well, should we do
Yeah.
something like groundwork, parentheses, phase 1, $17,000, parentheses, to understand the baseline, and then launch, parentheses, phase 2, 105,000, and then does that?
That makes more sense.
Yeah, phase 1, whatever the
Now, after we
dollar.
receive, can I ask a question? After we receive the RFPs from people that are submitting them, we get to look at them and talk to these people and ask them, say, they didn't define something specifically. We can ask them after the RFPs submitted to us for more
Yes.
information, or once they
Yeah.
submit them, we read them, and then we got to pick.
Yeah, so there's a question and answer period even during, that's down in the schedule, right? Even during, while we're waiting the responses. And it's, it's customary for us to gather all the questions anybody asks us and make them available to everybody. But then after it's up to us to decide how we choose the person. And what we've done on the solar is we bring them all in, like on the same day, anybody that we're seriously considering, and we just do an interview process with them. And that's where, you really gain a lot of insight, and you can ask them about their specific response to we ask them to give like a 5-minute presentation, and then the rest is all Q&A, right? And then from there, we make our recommendation for the, whether it's Tim or the Board of Selectmen, whoever makes the decision, right? That's up to Tim, how that plays out.
Chuck, can you put the dollar amounts up next in bold next to each of yeah, I think it's.
I mean, I think it gets the point across either way. That's fine.
Yeah, with it like that, then I don't know if we still need the last sentence, but this is much more obvious what each one is.
All right.
And don't forget to correct the spelling at the end, where we get to, before we totally forget about it.
You
You mean
this?
phase?
Yeah, phase.
I'm leaving it there because that'll help me remember to wordsmith this into what Barbara suggested.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll send it around once I finish again, and you guys
Okay.
can look it over.
Your short-term memory is better than mine.
Perhaps. So, what about Kim's point of taking the word possible out of here?
I think with the RFP, we can be more general in what we're asking for. So if it was a quote and we knew exactly what we wanted, then we would have our specifications. But
How
since this
about
is their proposal, they can basically tell us what they think they are going to do.
how about change possible to potential?
Potential project scope?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of it's like this is an illustration, but we're kind of, again, leaving it to be defined as part of the process.
And do you want to put phase 1, 2, and 3? Or
Well,
just phase 1?
Phase 1 is where they define everything, right? Phase 2
Yeah.
is just, hey, we're launching and we're implementing
Just
it.
doing it. Yeah.
And
Okay.
phase 3 is monitor it and make it self-sustaining.
Yeah. So I think it's better to say leave it just phase 1.
1. Okay.
All right. Well, we're through the meat of it. So, then they have to, reporting and compliance. This wasn't in our scope, but obviously there's going to be deep rules on reporting. They have to be able to support that. This stuff is also from our document. Mostly it's just the longer term stuff. Provide recommendations for long-term program sustainability. We had that as in scope. We thought it'd be a good idea to develop a demographic and operational profile of the transfer station. Think about a formation of a regional waste authority. Help us find additional funding opportunities and provide any additional related services necessary for successful project implementation. And then, they have to also require, they have to be able to meet deep requirements. So, including but not limited to reimbursement-based grant administration. I'm pretty sure I just lifted this directly from the grant language that Deep puts out. Require documentation, reporting, project timelines, compliance with Connecticut general statutes, deep equitable recycling collection requirements, that's not just a grant thing. That's, in general, that's a general deep requirement for recycling. Performance measurement.
So this section here, if they don't do all the things in this section, this would give us the ability to say, hey, you're not working out for us? Or am I thinking too much in?
I think Deep's going to require these things, right? So then,
So, yeah,
we want them to do it. We don't want to have to do it.
Okay.
Unless we think we want to take this on ourselves.
Well, would we have to put some kind of information in here saying, this would be grounds for termination if not done, or am I being too lawyery? And
Yeah,
I'm not a lawyer.
Because it says it's
just a proposal.
They're not going to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, my whole concern is we're asking them to do an awful lot of work for something that they may not get paid for.
No, I just mean, if they're not following the CTD grant requirements, then they're making us out of compliance.
This could move into a contract. So maybe we take it out as a proposal and just say something that, they must be able to demonstrate the ability to comply with the requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's better to do that so that we're not accidentally creating either a confusion through using different wording or if something is updated but this isn't.
Well, yeah, if Deep should update something and we are using old language, are we going to get in trouble?
Right.
Let's just take this out. All agreements are fully executed. Town reserves the right to modify the scope of services to align to final Deep grant. Town can terminate the contract at the end of any phase.
can we terminate the contract in the middle of the phase?
I guess we could say
Is
at
that
any
included
point.
somewhere else?
All
Yeah,
right,
once-
at any time, if the requirements for deep are not met, the contract can be null and void or something like that.
Or could be up for termination or something.
Or maybe this just comes down to the contract and we take it out of here.
That's true. Yeah, this is just a proposal. Can you meet the deep requirements? And then the contract, we can spell out all the things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
this is-
also if we're going to change the scope, we probably will, because contractually we'll probably need to include some way of being able to modify the contract to do so. So yeah, that does sound like a contract thing.
If we remember all this. Yeah, we can look over the grant the history. All right, so we just say here,
period.
I think Dan will weigh in on this. But so I wasn't, I got this off the somewhere from the town, but
I think
you
that
know.
we have boilerplate that we add to the bottom of our RFPs. So that might be something that is added by whoever puts it up on the website.
yes.
Yeah, so maybe the minimum qualifications should move up before the town procurement requirements.
Yeah.
Because
check
that
with-
would,
We'll
yeah,
check
so
with-
that would be, I would think the minimum qualifications would go before the requirements, or maybe not.
With the solar, Dan just modified this to be whatever he wanted it to be. When we got to this part of it, we laid down some, what we thought might work, but I think he modified it.
Clearly, the town attorney will be reviewing this before it goes out, I would think.
Not usually with RFPs, because RFPs aren't contracts.
Right.
Okay.
But we do have to be, one of the things that I lament occasionally is that our purchasing policy is lowest bidder. So if you go out and do the RFP and somebody comes back and they're the lowest bidder, they win, generally, as long as they meet the requirements. So if we have very specific concerns that we want to make sure are addressed, we definitely want to make sure that the RFP is written in a way where when it says that we will award the bid to the lowest qualified bidder, that when we're reviewing the bids, we're very clear about what qualified means.
Well, that's another good reason to have all these bullets in here, right? Because these are all basically our requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So do we have to give it to the lowest bidder, Kim, for this case?
Yes.
So
It's
then,
lowest qualified responsible bidder.
so should we put that on, could you scroll up a little bit, Chuck? No, I'm backwards to the bottom. Sorry.
No.
In my mind, you're physically scrolling up, but that's not what you're doing on the document. So preference may be given to firms. Can we even put that in there if it's going to be lowest qualified bidder? Or maybe something here where it says,
I think we
lowest-
should put that in there to be fair. I mean, you're talking about fairness and not making them do it 100 times. That would be something that somebody would drop out if they said, well, I don't know if I could go that low.
So I
Yeah, that's
think that does talk to the idea of qualified
Right.
and responsible. So I think something we don't typically do in our RFPs, I think because we a lot of our RFPs are involving companies that have been basically pre-cleared or pre-qualified. So you can't, for certain things that we have going on, you cannot bid on our RFPs or RFQs unless you are already a qualified, identified qualified company. So we don't typically do this where it's a matter of how is this RFP going to be judged? And then you could have criteria such as 10 points for this, 20 points for that. And it could relate back to these qualifications and demonstrations of being able to follow through.
Well, then this whole preference may be given firms. Should that even be as part of this RFP?
I think it's
Well, yeah, because it could be part of what we're saying is
right.
Is a
something that we're going to
requirement?
judge it. Yeah, judge it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
No,
whether or not that's going to get past Dan is a whole other question, but that's how I would like to do it.
but do we have to mention something about qualified lowest bidder at this point?
It's in our purchasing policy, so it's a given.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have a link to the purchasing policy portal in the bottom of this. This just states how we want the proposal to be organized, what they have to give us. And here we emphasize again, we want a detailed fee schedule by project phase. This, Dan will check.
Yeah, that's going to be more of the stuff they end up with from the boilerplate. Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah. Barbara said, hey, this doesn't add up to 100 points or 100, but that's why I went with the point system, so we weren't constrained to percentages. But this is just my discussion draft, right? So I just kind of put down the things that I thought were most important and gave the most weight to it. But, let's put it up for discussion here.
I would think references and past performance, I wouldn't put at 25 because they're not going to give you a reference of somebody that they screwed over. So I don't know if I would weight that any more than experience and qualifications. And
how about demonstrated ability? Basically, things that we're actually going to finish.
Instead of this line here.
Yeah, I don't know if it.
I do think we should
points.
include references in past performance,
Yeah,
and
give it 10
Kathy's
points.
point about it maybe not. Yeah,
Make it
25.
make it 15, so it counts as much as the others. But I think 25 is a little hefty for somebody that they're only, that's going to be their best friend. They're not going to give you the project that didn't go well.
And now
So,
it
and
ends up
perhaps-
to 100, so I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yay!
I'm gonna make a recommendation that's gonna mess that up. Relevant experience and qualifications could be two separate lines.
Okay.
Where relevant experience and demonstrated completion of projects might be one, and then qualifications could be another. Just thinking of the purchasing policy where it talks about responsibility and qualifications, and that could help with
And
those
I'm
two
not
lines.
Well, how would project team and staffing?
It's basically a way of making sure that they have the people necessary to do the work, right? Like if somebody comes in and they're a one person shop, right? Whereas, or they have, they may have people, but none of their team has any experience in this particular realm, right? Like they could come in with 10 people, but they just hired them all, or they are transferred over from some other type of discipline. So yeah, it's basically trying to demonstrate that they have the necessary resources to take care of it. At least that's how I think of it.
I know, I would think by the time you got to relative experience and qualifications, then that answers the project team and staffing. But
It's different. Like it could be their staffing versus whether or not, like they could have completed projects, but it's because they went and outsourced everything.
yeah, but if they like, do I care if they outsource it? If it got done?
I don't know.
Depends on how well they did.
I mean, but that would be from the experience and the references of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's project team and staffing has already been answered if you answered everything else.
Maybe we need different weighting then.
We definitely need to talk. We need to have that in there about staffing. Project team
Okay.
and staffing, you have to. It can't be a one-man show.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, give it 10 points then, but
Or you can keep it 15.
Well,
So
you
that,
can do project team and staffing and because like I've seen it where they're like, okay, tell us who your staff is and also tell us what their certifications qualifications are.
yeah, would staffing and qualifications be better on one line and then project? I don't know.
Well, that would be the staff. It would be the staff's um yeah, what they're I'm trying to think of the right term, but it's basically what training they have, right?
Or how certified they are or something. Or...
Yeah. So it's like, they have a PhD in trash or they're a wasteologist, like the woman who came to talk to us.
that would be technical approach and understanding, I would believe.
No, because the technical approach and understanding is their approach to the problem itself.
And the understanding of the
Also,
problem.
yep, it's the understanding of the problem, right? Do they grasp what we want them to do, and how does their technical approach sound
Wouldn't
like
that
it's
be
going to work?
expertise, knowing what and understanding what we want?
I mean, yes, it does get to expertise as far as the bidding goes, but the expertise of the staff themselves still matters, right?
Well, okay, they got it.
Okay.
And this is experience. It isn't expertise.
Well, the expertise was something a slightly different aspect of things. But yeah, the relevant experience is going to be, have they done this before? How often have they done it before? So obviously, the more they've done it, the higher points they'll get. Qualification, same thing. If they're highly qualified with relevant qualifications versus not very qualified with not relevant qualifications. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is strength of qualifications.
What's that?
Maybe this is strength of qualifications.
Well, I mean, I think that's understood. I mean, because we are rating though. So
Yeah. All right.
now, I mean, if you want to get more detailed, you could define low versus high, but I think it's good the way it is.
Gives us a little flexibility.
I want to talk about project timeline.
Yeah.
Because questions are
that was
due
thinking.
by the 19th. That's 6 days for somebody to put this in. That's ridiculous. They'll
Right.
slap it together and we'll get half baked questions.
So I've seen other RFPs. Now, also depends on how we want to handle questions. Like I think it's a good practice that when bidders ask questions that we would post the questions for other
Right.
bidders to see and be able to read the responses to.
Right.
Not everybody agrees with that. And I think that given that if that's that is one way to handle it. I don't think our town typically ever does this. But you would want to put a cap on when questions can be asked. So and I've seen somebody do the day before and then with answers posted, by the beginning of the or by noon that day. I don't think that that's a great, that's a pretty fast turnaround, and that might be great if you have like a whole department that's ready to
Yeah.
address those concerns.
Okay. If you,
But so we could have that whatever questions are going to be asked that there's a deadline 2 days before the RFP closes.
The only thing I'm thinking is, I mean, so I'm company A and I want to be part of this RFP. So I'm going to start to make my presentation or my report, and then I'm going to come up with questions. They don't just come up with questions automatically. So you got to give them a little more time to ask questions, I believe.
The
How long
Days
is
is
this
submission,
nothing.
RFP supposed to be open for?
the
I
submission isn't due till July 3rd.
Right,
Yeah,
but they might have questions after that date. You can't make it 6 days after you submit the RFP. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
right. That's why I think like a few days before it's due is what
Yeah,
I saw in
not
another
6 days after you
option.
issue the RFP.
Yeah.
Well, they have 7 days to formulate their questions. They have another 7 days to, for us to get responses back to them.
That's too
And then,
long.
yeah,
That's too long or too short, Kim?
I think that we should be able to do a turnaround of answering their questions faster than 7 days. And I think that they should be allowed to
Yeah, you're only
ask
giving them
questions
7 days to
longer.
ask a question, and then we're taking how many days to answer them? That doesn't make any sense.
maybe give them more time to ask questions and give us
Yes,
less time to
absolutely.
answer them.
Right. And I think that, sometimes when they're talking about having the answers provided, a lot of times those questions are asked on an ongoing, like rolling type basis where it's not a particular deadline until it's like the deadline for all questions, but any question could come in at any time. And I think generally the idea is you answer them as they come in.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because questions beget more questions.
Yeah.
So
Depending on the answer.
questions are due by, say, Monday the 20, what would that be, the 22nd?
how many days do you want for questions to be due?
Well, I mean,
Well,
you got to
since we're
think
going to be
about
the
the
ones answering them,
weekend.
right? Like,
Yeah, and then
well, and then and also we need to be able to make sure we have enough time to reach out to partners, whether it's Deep or Dan, to make sure we're asking the right people, what the questions are. But generally, I've never really seen a long turnaround time for answering questions, and I haven't really seen very complicated questions either.
I mean, if you did it Monday the 21st, or that would be the 22nd, and have your responses due by the 26th, that's plenty of time for us to give them answers.
Would it make sense to say initial questions due so it gets them thinking earlier and then not necessarily closing the door on answering the questions until
they're
later?
adults. They're adults. They can plan their own time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you wanted this to be shorter, right? Oops. What's going on there? So, I mean, I
No.
personally,
Questions due was June 22nd, responses June 26th is
so
what
you
I
want to give them 10 days here
yes.
to get questions to us.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of time, I think, but, and then,
Well, that gives them a couple of weekends to get their act
Right,
together.
and it gives them time to look at the report and see, oh, maybe I need to ask this question because I want to do it right.
okay.
And then 4 days for responses.
Yeah, 26, yeah.
So normally we have our RFPs active for about a month. So if it's going to be issued, say the 12th, then it shouldn't be due until the 10th.
Yes. I don't know why we're rushing this.
So, and then that would mean that
July
we could
10th.
have, right, and then they don't have to, we can have a deadline for questions to submit of beginning of July or July 3rd, whatever. I don't have a calendar in front of me right now.
And why is the anticipated contract's execution so quick as well?
Yeah. And we could even just take that out, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, I've seen that. I've seen people do that. But this is kind of novel, so we can give ourselves a little breathing room.
Yeah, because there's going to be turnaround with the lawyer and everything else, right?
Yeah. So July 10th is a Friday, so it shouldn't be the 10th. It should be one of the days beforehand.
It should be
Oh,
one
yeah,
of the
you don't-
days.
Or
Yeah, they
or
don't work-
the next
they don't work
Monday,
on-
which is the 13th.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. We're not on Friday. We're not open on Friday. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so make this,
Oh, how fun would that be? Yeah, your interview is on Friday. Oh, we don't work on Friday.
It happens a lot. It's like, no, we can't do that time.
So then we want the responses to questions to be like June 25 on Thursday. We don't want to make it Friday.
That's too early. In my opinion, my humble opinion.
all right. So,
So the issue is with the questions, right? They'll have most of their proposal written, and then they'll ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, if they're waiting that long, the questions are going to be so that they can update what they've already written. They aren't necessarily, and if they are waiting that long to ask really substantive questions, then they must be confident that they can put their proposal together in 4 days. I mean, they can ask their questions anytime, but you know, it's only on them if they wait for a long time to put it in.
Oh, so then the RFP issued has to change from Friday, June 12th to June 11th then.
Oh yeah, good point.
uh, I'm just still not used to this not working on Friday thing.
Well, then everything else changed to Sunday.
So that gives them over a month to respond.
Okay.
I mean, it still only gives
no,
them a week to ask
Wait a minute.
questions.
Wait a minute. This isn't right. We got June 11th to July 2nd for the proposal deadline. So that's only
Well, I
18
thought the
days.
proposals were going to be due on the 9th or the 13th.
That's the interviews he has.
Yeah, but I think that the proposal needs to be out for a month. Now, I could be wrong, but generally when we put things out, they're out for a month.
Right.
I think they should be out for a month because then you'll get more play, more
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to look at the timeline and say, oh, they want it by the 2nd. Forget it. I can't even get you a report by then.
Well,
I don't know why we're rushing this.
Be 15. So this would be.
Chuck, I think you have to give up on the additive numbers. I'm sorry. I love my Excel. I think in this case it's just adding more complication than necessary.
No, it's a pain in the neck to go back and work with a calendar and figure all this out.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So now it's due on. We issue it on a Thursday. It's due on July 13th. They have over a month to get back to us. We do interviews 7 days later, within 7 days, and then the anticipated award is 7 days after that.
We're going to have a meeting in between the day they submit them and
Yeah, you need
the interviews.
A board of selectmen meeting, don't you?
No, not for this part. So
okay.
The idea would be that the RFPs, the bids get opened in a meeting with minutes and such, and then they get reviewed, and then they're then you have time to take a look at them. If we're going to do that kind of criteria, that kind of graded criteria, everybody's going to need time to go through the proposals and take a look at everything, and then you get back together and compare your total.
So is that going to be enough time between the proposed submissions, the time you open them, for us to read them and come up with questions? Is that going to be enough days, 7 days?
I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, how much work do you have? I'm still very uncomfortable with the timeline for the questions. Just putting that out there. I think that they should have. I think that there should be a lot more time for the questions.
Yeah, I mean, is there a reason, Chuck, that we're rushing this?
No, just to get get things done, but no.
Okay, well, we've only met a couple times and we're rushing this RFP.
No, this is meant to give us something to discuss. So,
Right, but the anticipated award is July 27th. So that's not giving us any time to even think about it. Just jam it down our throats, let's read it, and then I mean, really, I'm being realistic.
I mean, so technically, actually, it cannot be awarded until August 6th. Because it has to be one of the first or third Thursdays, because it's not awarded until the Board of Selectmen votes on it.
So I think we should move the interviews a little later so that we can all look at them, think about it, make some questions up for the interview.
All right.
that's 10 days. Is that enough? You want more?
We don't even have to post that those dates. I mean, 10 days should probably be okay. I guess it really depends on how many you get, but what are we anticipating? 4, 3?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to have a huge response.
Yeah, it probably isn't going to be an issue.
And
Chuck,
then
I
we-
can't find that document I've been looking for it in my email.
Which document are you talking about?
This RFP that we're reviewing?
Oh, I sent it to everybody.
Yeah, I just,
As a link,
yeah. Oh, as a link.
right?
Oh.
In the email it says draft.
I've been searching my
RFP.
emails for attachments.
Oh no! Look for draft RFP.
I
Okay.
think it was May 30th that you sent it out, Chuck.
All right. So you wanted to add some time for this questions too, right?
Well, I just think it's unnecessarily short.
11
I don't really
days
see what
for
the
them to give
purpose
us
is of
questions.
having it be so brief.
Now, the anticipated award. Who does the anticipated award? Is it the Board of Selectmen?
Yes,
Okay.
that's when it's finalized.
Another one of my thoughts is that we've been working on this. The Board of Selectmen has no idea what we've discussed, what we're doing, haven't seen the RFP, won't see the questions. We need to move that anticipated award date farther out for the simple reason that we need to educate the Board of Selectmen on why we came up with our thoughts, what we did. We can't just throw it at them and say, here you go. I really think that, we have to educate the Board of Selectmen and the public on what we're doing, why we did it, what questions we asked, who we picked, so that they can make an educated vote.
So
Yeah.
are you proposing that we do a presentation to the Board of Selectmen sometime mid-July to let them know kind of what?
Absolutely, because you
So-
can't hand this to the Board of Selectmen and say, here you go, and in one evening, because I know, in one evening you have to decide. We need to educate the Board of Selectmen and the public.
The postponement is always a motion that they can put forward, for one thing. But also, because our purchasing policy is generally only the lowest bid, it's usually there's usually nothing to discuss. You either award it or you don't. If we are able to do a more judged type of award process, then I think that, yeah, absolutely. It would be very meaningful, I think, to help explain what those are. But every bid is put forward to the Board of Selectmen with the bid sheet that helps explain the selection.
We used a system very similar to this for the solar. We didn't have to pick necessarily that. Of course, we ended up not owning the array, so I guess maybe that's part of it.
Well, I mean, I'm hopeful that we can do that. it does say qualified and responsible. So I do believe that it would still fulfill the needs of the purchasing policy.
Well, I do
I just want
know
to make sure
when
Dan's on board.
the solar was discussed with the Board of Selectmen, it was done in one
Yeah.
evening, and we had to decide with no knowledge of anything, of how it came about, why it was done. It was just like, okay, now you got to vote. There was
Yeah,
no thought process about it. It was their way or the highway. That's how it came across.
right.
So you don't want to do this with this. This is a huge, I don't know if anyone really knows that this is a huge project for the town of Southbury. This is a pay to throw, it quite possibly could be. And there's no education of the public. You don't know what their responses are. You don't know. This needs to be put out there in detail, and it needs to
Okay.
be a discussion.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
I know.
I agree.
But hold on. All we're doing here is awarding the program partner. We're not awarding the project. It's not until we finish phase one that we do that. We get the project partner on board, we do phase one, then we go through all the process that you're talking about of educating the public and deciding what we're going to do and putting forth our specific proposals and recommendations to the Board of Select. This is just
And
to get a partner.
Yeah, and the education of the Board of Selectmen has already started. Chuck has already presented to the Board of Selectmen, and they were very attentive, and we're definitely asking a lot of questions that we're going to make sure that get addressed, right? Kathy was there. She
Yeah.
remembers.
Wow, I wish we were invited to this, because that's unbeknownst to me that you were going to do a education to the Board of Selectmen.
No.
Right, because that was before the award was accepted. So we
Oh,
couldn't
so this was
create this
before the grant was
commission.
accepted.
We couldn't create this task force unless we were accepting the grant. So
Okay.
Right.
And then the first part of this phase is whoever gets this awarded has to present to the town and do, so they're going to be doing the education. That's part of phase one.
Okay, but I really think that as a group, we should be constantly educating the public of where we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it. We might get some great responses from the public. Can't be a secret.
Of course.
It's
I
not a
agree.
secret.
I agree entirely. But
absolutely right.
all this is doing is getting us the partner to help us do all of it.
Okay.
And I do update the Board of Selectmen as to what step we're on. So they are aware that we came up with this. So it's, part of the job of a task force is to do all the heavy lifting and to provide you with the options after all the heavy lifting is done. If we had everybody make every decision every time, nothing would get done.
Of course.
So,
But this is a huge,
of course, it's a
huge thing
huge.
in the town of Southbury, and people should have, we should have the public involved. We should have meetings with the public.
But we also need
keep
to
them
give
up
them
to date.
information. We also need to give them information, which is what phase one gives us.
Right.
Because right now there's a lot of fear. You mentioned pay to throw, and everybody loses their mind
Of course.
without knowing, what that entails and what other things are available. And so we have to get all that information together before we can present, which is what phase one is. So we got
If that's the way we're going to go.
Yeah. I mean, if the first part was, do we even want to start this process? The answer was yes. Are we going to accept this grant? That was the next yes. And so now the third part is we got to pick a partner. And then all the good, juicy details come out.
Mhm.
And
we may not pick a partner.
maybe no one, I didn't even get to that. What if nobody wants this RFP?
Or what if we get all the proposals back, the lowest bidder gets it, and we're like, we need to research this more. We need to go in a different direction.
Yeah,
That's
we're not
possible.
obligated to award a contract to any bidder. And we have the opportunity to, if we are not satisfied with what comes back, to send it out again.
In which case, then I go back to the board whatever board it is, selectmen, and say, hey, we got a bunch of RFPs. We didn't like any of them. And that way the public is informed as to what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. So we all right with this timeline?
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, that's not what I planned on. But I'll fix that later. Rather take our time. We'll go through that now. Yeah, so this is what Kim was getting to. They have to submit it to us in a PDF format as a sealed hard copy and a copy on a thumb drive so that, we're just not dealing with paper. And then, it will be opened, and the way we did it with the solar, at least, is we did it in Dan's office, with, a bunch of people there, and we opened it publicly.
Yep, and they'll take minutes and
Do you have to, on the proposal itself, mention like time and date as to when it was opened and that kind of stuff? I'm just curious. Has nothing to do
well,
with.
but it's minutes, so it's
Oh, it's in the minutes. Okay.
yeah. So I'll have the date of the meeting and
And who was in the room and all
I
that
think
kind of
I
good stuff.
think maybe I haven't done them yet, but and then I think who submitted bids, maybe
Mhm.
something like that. So there's a record of having been opened.
And then, they send any questions to Dan. He relays it on to us.
Little
And-
disclaimer.
So we don't have to send them to Dan. I think that I was trying to think, what did the streetscape do?
Does it go to the first select?
Let's see. But yeah, I think I'm sorry. I opened up the streetscape document because I thought it would be fast to find. Silly me. Oh, actually, wrong one. All right. Just because it might be less annoying for Dan. But
But if
but we can ask when we submit the documents where it should go. Where questions should
I
go.
mean, it could always go to Tim and then he could delegate who he wants it to read through it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, right now, this is if they have questions, right? How do they submit the question? So
Yeah.
Dan just bumps them off to us, and then we respond back.
Oh, okay. So this isn't the actual RFP. All right.
Right. And then, we reserve the right. We'll check all this with Dan, but amend or withdraw this RFP, request clarification of proposals, reject any or all submissions, negotiate proposals, award in whole or part, and accept the proposal deemed most advantageous to the town.
Yeah, I think that again, that's boilerplate that gets added on to after the RFP. So what we're actually writing is just the meat of the document, and then all this other stuff is stuff that the town has prepared.
Okay. Good.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, because we aren't the right people to be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Although we don't actually have like a template across the town to use, so it's good to pay attention to all the things.
So are you saying we should put that as part of the strategic task force?
My God, I have never wanted policies more in my life than after starting work here.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, I put more things on the agenda in case this discussion went quickly, but I think we've done enough in one night.
Well, we still haven't decided whether or not to do only one phase or all three phases for the RFP.
Oh, thank you
right?
for reminding me. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I
Oh,
did
yeah.
have one point I was going to say, which is technically the grant is through the three phases. We accepted all three phases of the grant, and we get these jumping off points at the end of each phase. So technically, it's already all three phases, and we get to jump ship at these certain points, which is kind of
Well,
like another argument in favor of all of doing it in three phases or
well,
doing the RFP for three phases.
if the grant is written for all three phases, just to make things easier, we should have the RFP for all three phases so everything matches, kind of thing.
With jumping off points.
No, but I mean, but to me that makes sense
Yeah.
because then you would,
Yeah.
you know. So that's my thinking on it, anyways.
Mhm.
Did we want to vote on that, or did we lose Chuck?
No, I think we should. No.
Oh, who's gonna do the
So-
motion?
Yeah, so, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to vote on whether we do this as one RFP for all three phases or individual RFPs?
You can't have a motion with an or. That doesn't make sense. I would say I
So-
would do a motion that we do this as one RFP for all three phases.
Second,
Okay. Do we want to vote?
Sure.
Any discussion?
No.
I went to a
All right.
meeting recently. Can you tell?
I think the horse is dead.
Well,
We
you
can
can't
stop
do
eating
the
it.
you can't do the RFP for the first phase because it's only 17,000. So because grant
Yeah.
monies are over 25,000, an RFP needs to be issued. You wouldn't be able to issue it because we don't
You
need an
can
RFP for the first phase.
Well, you can still issue it. It's just not required by the purchasing policy to be a sealed bid. I think you could still do it as if it was a sealed bid, as if it was.
anyway,
Yeah.
I mean,
We-
I thought we decided this long ago, maybe, let's see, maybe about an hour ago. So
Not formally.
can we, so but if apparently not, but I don't know, I think we should just do one RFP for all the reasons we said before. And my mind is now going blurry on it.
So are
So
we done discussing?
How does that work? How does that, when you do the final award, then it can be voted on that all three phases are be done by that one company if they're going to give you information on all three phases. So that blows us out of the water to jump off.
I think the contract can still end at any of the
we
end
said
of
we
the
could jump
phases,
out.
and there's
Yeah, we said in the contract we could jump out any time. The only thing would be tricky, but it'd be tricky under either circumstance, is trying to get somebody else to buy in for phase two.
Well, and we would have to I would assume we would have to write a new RFP because we'd only be looking for the two phases or the one phase left.
Yeah.
Right? We wouldn't use the same document because that work should have hopefully already been done.
And we would have to justify to Deep why we're not staying with this contractor. Like there needs to be a legitimate reason.
So
we-
that means that we're stuck with whoever we award the thing to.
well, no, because you can change.
We
No,
can end
Deep
it.
but you
said
need-
they
but you need
strongly
to-
can end
recommend
it, or then
they
But yeah,
strongly
but
recommend
that's not a
sticking with the
requirement.
same contractor. So
Yeah.
we can't really jump ship.
Well,
It's
you
impossible.
can jump
we
ship
can,
because
but we
you
need to explain it.
Right, but
We
if there's no clause and we just say, you know what, we're uncomfortable going to the second phase, you're stuck.
Well, there's
Well,
got to be a reason you're uncomfortable.
Well, if you're
Or you just mean
uncomfortable
like-
with
or-
the second phase, then we would be
Well,
jumping
yeah, then-
ship anyways.
Yeah.
And, we could still go. It's just that we forego the grant money to go.
right.
Um,
And Deep wrote these grants specifically this way after they did it differently for the whole first round of grants. They purposely did this because there were towns that said, okay, after the groundwork, and you're telling us pay to throw is the best way to go, we're not doing it. So now they've made it, okay, let's have 3 phases so that towns can decide, here's what the consultant is telling you is the best approach. They've done all the groundwork and we either agree, yes, we're going to do whatever they say, or no, we disagree and we're not going to accept it. We're not going to move on to phase 2.
Yeah, and if we end up with a person who says that, well, the only way that we think you should continue is with bags, then we have a good reason to jump ship.
Right.
Because it's not something we want to do. If that turns out how it is.
No, any more discussion?
Nope.
All right. Do we want to vote?
I'm ready.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Who concurs with the vote to write it as one RFP?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any objections?
Whatever.
And any abstaining?
Okay.
Sounds like an unanimous agreement.
Yay.
All right. So now we're done with what we're done for the evening. How about that?
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Can we vote on that too?
No.
Smart.
Fair.
All right. I will I'll dust this up and send it around again, and then we'll forward it to Dan for review.
Okay. Are we setting our next meeting, Chuck?
Oh, thank you. Yes. I have it down here. June 23rd.
3rd?
That
Okay.
would be our 3-week rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
7 p.m.
So we're not
Okay.
going to discuss anything else this evening?
I put more on here in case we went through that quickly.
Lucky for
Yeah.
us, we didn't.
Yeah.
I think we should have a sooner meeting because we have a lot on the agenda that we didn't go through. The scope,
I'm
our
fine.
homework.
I'm fine with that. If you want to, we could move it 2 weeks. You want to do that?
Yeah, because can you move that page up a little so we can see what's left on the agenda?
Sure. Our homework last time was to define the top 5 priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And then, to kind of do what we're doing here in a way, but get ourselves ready for evaluating at least the companies that we got these pricing proposals from before. And then Tom had an action to get our last 5 years of transfer station
I
tonnage.
got not 5 years. I got something from Dan, but it's not 5 years. I'm gonna go back to him, see if I can get more. I've got 2 years, but I don't know why he seemed to imply he had more than that. But so let me go back to him and see what, or
Well,
we could
yeah.
go to,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Or the next Tuesday I'm available for is the 23rd because I have meetings on the 9th and the 16th. But I'm available other nights if you want to not do it on a Tuesday.
Well, he said the
busy
23rd.
liaison.
He
Yeah,
said 20.
I can't do the 16th, and neither can Tom because we have.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 3 of us are on that together.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
I thought we said the 22. I thought we said the 23rd was what we were doing.
Yeah, and Anne brought
Yeah.
up the very good point of having a lot still to take care of.
And discuss without having to put it off any longer. Plus, the RFP is going to be submitted. We're going to have
Well-
questions. I mean, there's
Well-
going to be a lot of work that now we're not going to get to the stuff that was on the agenda.
Well, the point, but the RFP, we're going to have this. The RFP is slowing us down in general, right? So just picking a program partner is going to take a lot longer. So we have time to define our scope. We have more time to review the program partner materials that we've gotten so far. So
But
that's why.
Chuck, if we're putting out an RFP and we're going to have questions coming forward, they're going to say, "What's your scope? What's your top priorities?" We don't know any of those because we haven't discussed it.
Correct.
I mean,
But
how
we're
you
not-
answer questions if we don't have parameters?
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we can't represent ourselves if we don't know who we are.
Well, I think that's the point of putting out an RFP as opposed to a request for quote. We're going to expect them to come to us with a plan, and we're going to get
No,
to
but what
judge
I'm
the
saying
quality of
is
their
when they
plan.
ask us questions, they're going to say, "What's your scope?" We don't know. What's your top
Yeah.
priorities? I don't know.
no,
You figure it out.
no.
We have to be.
The scope gets defined during phase one. This is only our picking our partner. We can't mix this up. All we're doing here is picking somebody to help us.
You asked us at last meeting to pick five important topics or whatever you said in the agenda.
Right.
We were going to talk about a scope.
Yes.
We're not talking about any of that. All we're talking about is to get a partner. But if you have questions from the partner and we don't know who we are, how are you going to answer the questions? We haven't talked about anything. What's important to us? We haven't talked about that. I know we talked about bags, so we can tell them, well, bags are important to us. We haven't talked about anything. We're jumping. That's why I'm saying, why are we rushing? We're running right into an RFP when we don't even know what defines us.
This isn't an RFP for the project. This is an RFP for the program partner.
Right. Is
Right.
the partner supposed to help with all of that process, with helping to define the final scope
Yes.
and priorities? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
because
Yes.
we're the town. They're not our town. They don't know what we want, what we like, what we don't like. They're just
Right.
a company.
So we're
So
not-
they don't live here. They don't know the
Right.
residents.
So we would be judging them on their approach to helping
Guessing.
with that process, right? In helping define all that process, basically.
Yes. And so we're not anticipating that we're even going to have them on board until August.
Right.
And our priority could change depending on the response we get.
Mm.
If our highest priority is something that nobody does, then
True.
we might have to
Okay.
rethink things.
Leave it on the 23rd and then we'll go from there.
All right. So that's it for tonight then.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Yep. We'll see you.
Unbelievable.